Record. Thank you. Okay, I am so excited for this call today. I had the honor, along with Leah Morrison, who's on the call right now as well, to be a part of the Barre Blend Superblock. And a lot of you on this call know me. Some of you don't. My background is actually in CrossFit. I'm a CrossFit level 2 coach. I am a personal trainer, and Barre was kind of like the complete opposite of the training style that traditionally, before coming into body, that I did. And when I did Barre Blend the first time, I think if you guys have ever seen the Elise and Amwala video of Amwala just like dying doing all the bar moves, that's pretty much me. And so when I got invited to be in the Barre Blend Superblock, I was so excited and so terrified at the same time, because once again, it is very difficult for me. So if you're like, oh, Barre is so hard for me, trust me, I'm in the same boat. But it was incredible. This Superblock is so different from Barre Blend, and we're going to get into it. It is a much more athletic style of Barre, and I'm so grateful that I was asked to be a part of it, that Leah was asked to be a part of it. We were able to have the experience together, and just Elise is absolutely incredible in it. So like, just get ready. It is a total body, total mind, total life transformation program, and you are all going to absolutely love it. But we're going to do a little Q&A with Elise today. Elise, do you want to say anything before we kick off our Q&A?
Oh my gosh, I just love seeing you guys. I love my coaches so much. I see my girl Amy Mashburn, I see Mandy and Leah from the podcast. Oh my gosh, I was so blessed to have Leah and Courtney in this podcast. They are main characters in this story. You'll be so proud of them and seeing how they crushed it. I followed all their stories all along, and I'm so proud. I approach everything I do as a new program. So, this Superblock was no different for me. I wanted to create something new and innovative. And in addition to always keeping my women in mind and our coaches and body members in mind, I really always try to keep you guys in mind as business owners, because I want you to be able to offer new acquisitions and people something that they can't get anywhere else, right? Something that's not available on any other platform, on any other competition, or, any of our competitors. And so it was so excited to get, some carte blanche to really lean into my creativity and take 4 years of experience, 4 years of wisdom, 4 years of growth since the original Barre Blend, and, evolve it in such a fun and athletic way into this new version. And I'm here to answer all of your questions, and I'm just so excited. Thank you for having me. Thank you for sharing your time away from your families and work to be here with me and to have me on this call.
Awesome. Well, when we announced the call, we asked all the partners and everybody what questions they had for you about the program, and we have some really great questions.
Okay. Yes, I saw that there were some great questions. So hit me. I love questions, and I always keep it real. So,
So question number 1, does the new Superblock have intensity levels for those who are postpartum or need modifications? Or do you have any thoughts on how postpartum or newbies to fitness should approach this program?
Yes, this is a great question. So first of all, yes, absolutely. There is a modification and a level that will make everyone feel welcome. I do recommend, especially because the program doesn't actually drop until the 3rd of July, any postpartum mom should do the postnatal Barre Blend workouts. I would recommend doing pre and postnatal. It's not super long. It's trimester specific. You can see Amy, your girl Amy is one of our amazing cast members in PPN, but there's 2 postnatal workouts that can help you decide if your core is recovered enough to go on to a different postnatal specific kind of fitness. And trust me, when I see new moms who are athletes get cleared by their doctor, and the first thing they do is box or lift heavy weights and then wonder why they develop DR or other issues and their core never recovers from it. It is so important to do these 2 postnatal recovery workouts if you are newly postnatal, okay? Just so you understand that your core is recovered. Any birth is traumatic, whether it's a natural birth that went according to your plan, or it's an emergency C-section, your body needs to recover appropriately. And I want everyone to be safe first. And the postnatal, the 2 workouts will give you, you'll know, I'll tell you, okay, you're ready, your core is recovered, move on. That being said, this Superblock welcomes everyone. So once you know your core is recovered, it's perfect for you. In answer to the prenatal questions, again, I would do a couple of the workouts from each of the trimester specific prenatal Barre blend workouts. It's specifically for you. So that if you're in trimester 1, for example, you'll do a couple of the PPN workouts and you'll know, okay, in trimester 1, we recommend you skip twists. So when you come into the Superblock, which has twists, you will know to keep it linear. Because I created such a very specific trimester specific, hormone cycling specific pre and postnatal program, it is what I would recommend doing and completing and having that awareness before moving on to the Superblock. But the Superblock there is a level for everyone. Of course, you don't need me to explain to you that Courtney is an elite athlete as a CrossFit teacher. Leah, also an elite athlete with a different background. First of all, I would consider anyone who takes on this Superblock in any modified version to be an elite athlete, because it means you are willing to move your body in a way that may not be familiar. It means you are in touch enough to challenge yourself on a different level that you'd be surprised how many people are just not willing to do that. They just refuse to believe that if you're not doing 1 million burpees and 900 jumping jacks, that you're not doing cardio. And I've exhausted myself for 25 years trying to explain to people the value of this kind of work. So if you are even approaching it, congrats, you're an elite athlete. That being said, I tested a lot of the moves on my mom who it helped her repair problematic hips, the original Barre blend. I've had friends who were athletes and rehabilitating knee injuries, ankle injuries, hernias, recovering from a second hernia surgery. How can this help you with core recovery? There is a level for everyone. The key to that is really letting go of your ego, because it is challenging. And if you ever want to see me topple over, me shake, me set down my 1-pound weights because they're too heavy, this is the Superblock for you. I try to always lead by example. I come out of my ego. My leg is like half as high as half of the podcast sometimes, because I am aware enough to go at my level. And yes, this is challenging, but what's interesting, it is somehow a beautiful up level for all my OG Barre blenders, but it is more approachable for people who've never done Barre blend before, as Courtney mentioned. And with that, I have in mind people who were a little intimidated by Barre blend with professional dancers and this beautiful extension. And you might feel like if you're not flexible, it's not for you. This is not, you're not going to feel that way. This is something for everyone at every level. So always am thinking of my moms to be. It's also a wonderful way to treat your body if you are on your trying to conceive journey, because it helps you, balance your body in different ways. So everyone has a level for them if they're open to, modifying and intensifying as needed.
I love all of that. And you just answered a lot of the questions that we had. And
I'll get more specific about whatever it is.
Yes. And I truly believe that it is more approachable because it's a shorter format, right? It's 17 workouts. It's 4 weeks with that up week, as opposed to the original Barre blend was 8 weeks. I mean, that is a long time to commit to a program. So this is a great way, an entry-level way for people to get into Barre that have never tried it before, see the benefits of it, and do it. So amazing.
And I love Andy's feedback here. She said, for those of us almost 60, Barre blend is so kind to our body too. So strengthening, I revisited it yesterday and felt amazing. The idea that I hope the fitness world is moving toward is away from this, if I'm not dead, I haven't worked hard enough. If I'm not in pain and can't walk upstairs the next day, I haven't worked hard enough. If I'm not doing 2-a-days, I haven't worked hard enough. And into the reality and truth, which was you should feel challenged, but you will feel great. And I will let later on, hopefully Courtney and Leah speak to it. We were filming 2-a-days, which I would never recommend. After completing workout one, I felt amazing. I was fully gassed. I'd spent everything in my tank. I got my cardio. I got my heart rate to maximum in 4 to 6 intervals. There's 4 to 8 intervals of cardio in every single class. I was strengthened. I was shaking. I felt amazing. After 2, I felt a little closer to dead, but I still felt great. I still went to sleep feeling great. I did not need ice baths. I did not need cryotherapy. I did not need physical therapy. Knock on wood, I'm one of the few athletic trainers out there that hasn't had to rehab injuries. This way of working is very good for your body, and it will make you feel more energized. And I think a lot of the feedback from the podcast was, oh my gosh, even after 2, super intense sweat, had to have a shower in between to look presentable before the second one, they still woke up pain-free, not overtrained. So it is almost impossible to overtrain and spike your cortisol levels with this style of workout because it is gentle on your joints and spine. It is designed to support your body in a very unique way. And to Courtney's point, it's not just classic bar. We have some great bar programs, extend bar and things that are very classic bar. This is bar blend. So I will take those deep, deep burn zones from classic bar, throw in cardio intervals, throw in mobility and functional training, throw in all kinds of props and fitness and MMA modalities. So it really is an amazing way to train your body, to optimize your body, whether your body is PPN, your body is postmenopausal, your body is elite athlete, you will optimize it, not just strengthen it.
So this is a question about anybody who's dealt with lower back pain or other chronic pain from old injuries and surgeries. They find a lot of plie type movements and small movements can aggravate their body and leave them too sore. Do you have any recommendations on how to approach the program, such as drop weights, lessen your plie, take breaks? Any
100%.
recommendations with that?
Yes, 100%. And these are great questions. I love intelligent questions. So thank you for these. So I'm going to address both of the things, the knee question and then the low back question. So there are 2 very common mistakes that happen if you're new to bar and you haven't watched the getting started video. So the first thing I would say is go to the original bar blend tile. It's already there on BOD. I have created about 80 minutes of getting started videos breaking down each posture. So I'm going to address the back thing first. I wasn't prepared to do a demo. I tried to look nice. You guys, I put on like some mascara and stuff, which I don't usually do. So I have a dress on, but I will show the low back issue. It's almost always the same thing. And I think in bar blend, because we're looking at professional dancers whose leg is very high, we focus on the height of our leg rather than the alignment of the spine. So for low back issues, it's almost, I would say 98% of the time an anterior tilt. So what that means is when we're at the bar and if we're at bar blend and we're looking at professional dancers, you know, whose leg is up here, you can see, I don't know if I have a good contrast color, but do you see the anterior tilt in my spine? See, I'm arching my back. Already my back is in pain because this is spinal compression. We don't want that. What do I want? This goes back to the ego. I want to pull my ribs in, pull my low abs in, lengthen my back. And now my leg is about 1.5 feet lower. But now when I do my lifts, glute max, hamstrings, energize and stability in the glute minimus, core, okay? Here, back pain, flailing back pain, terrible for you. Here, rehabilitative of back pain, supportive of an elongated spine that you build core around, because I find a lot of fitness focuses on core contraction, which is great, but you need to lengthen your spine. We all know our lumbar spine has discs, right? And our lumbar spine gets compressed all day. Gravity, sitting in chairs compresses our lumbar spine. If you're only working the core in contraction, you're building a strong core around a compressed lumbar. My specialty, elongating the spine, working the core in extension and in contraction, working the spine in extension and flexion, and wrapping the core around an elongated spine, which over time, and I mean time, weeks, maybe days, but definitely why you should be doing this for life is it will build a strong core around an elongated lumbar spine, which means what? You will not herniate discs. You will not have a lot of common low back injuries. But that being said, the alignment is key. There is a 10-minute getting started video on that exact position. So the first thing that I think the Superblock is so great is that all of our podcasts had amazing alignment and they are real bodies, right? Dancers are a special breed, okay? They've been working for 30 years on flexibility and extension. So unless you have 30 years of professional dance experience, your leg should not be where their leg is. And if you notice in original bar blend, I often lower my leg to emphasize So you will know, are you feeling it in your low back? You're out of alignment. If you're feeling it in your glutes, your hamstrings, your glute medius muscles, you're in alignment. So definitely the getting started videos there. Now the knee thing is a similar thing. When we're doing plies, the people who complain about knee pain, especially for original barbell, I would be like, can you send me a video, just like a quick story or whatever of you doing the plies? And it is almost always hyperflexion in the knees, which is the similar thing to an anterior tilt in the spine is hyperflexion in the knees, which means that, again, you're seeing dancers, and excuse me, I'll try to keep this like non-risque, but you're seeing dancers get very low because they have incredible hip movement. Their hips can go like this. If you've never danced, your hips, maybe your maximum range of motion might be here, but they see the dancers get low, so they get low. And then if you can see how my knees are, if I were to draw a line from my knees down to the floor, it would be about 8 inches in front of my toes. That's hyperflexion in the knees. You want the knees stacked over the ankles as much as possible. And again, a 10-minute getting started videos on this. So first you eliminate the anterior tilt, pull the belly in, and you come only as low as you can with your inner thighs guiding the knees open. So the getting started videos will help. The other thing that helps with that, and this might seem kind of like contrary, is a strong loop. So if you have done, and Amy can probably attest to this from pre and postnatal barre blend, one of the things that happens when you're prenatal, and I could really nerd out on hormones. I'm taking an advanced hormone course now after a previous hormone course from PPN, but is that something called relaxin is released, which makes your hips hypermobile. And what happens then is a lot of times injuries can happen. So we use a tighter loop, maybe even tighter than you would think. You won't come down as low, but then the loop will tell you, are you using your inner thighs to press those hips open? In which case, abduction of the hips to open the hips, you're using inner thighs and your glute medius and minimus for abduction and adduction, and it will actually take pressure out of your knees. You never want to feel lateral pressure on the knees or hyperflexion in the knees. So plies are very challenging for non-dancers because you'll hear me say, get as low as you can, which is going to look different than how low I am. But the other advice is really listen to your body. It takes time, just like a lot of people when they start yoga, right? We have wrist flexion, and you know it from planks and push-ups. In yoga, we spend a lot of time weight bearing on our wrists. Most people are not used to it. And one of the main reasons a lot of people stop yoga is it's too much pressure on their wrists. But just like any muscle, we have to train our joints in stability. If we decide, this kind of feels weird for my knees, I'm never going to do it again, you're not moving forward with training and stability. So it's really important. I coach you through it in the Superblock and in the getting started videos, is the difference between intensity and pain. It's a fine line sometimes. You never, 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 never want to experience pain. But we must understand that muscle fatigue, when your legs are shaking, and engagement of the muscles, and when you feel your ankles wobbling, you are actually working the ligaments and tendons that support your ankle joints. Same with your knees. You don't want to be in pain, but you want to work out of your comfort zone. And these are the two biggest things. So the low back thing is a little easier to fix because it's very visible and you can feel it. The knee thing is a little more challenging because in almost no forms of fitness outside of barre and the way I train, and this includes yoga too, which does not have a lot of double external hip rotation in this way, this kind of knee stability is imperative, and you're almost never in weight-bearing double external hip rotation in the hips to help support hips and knees. So it's the same thing. We want to work those ligaments and tendons that support ankles, knees, and hips. It is going to feel awkward. You are going to look awkward. That's what's great about working out at home. You don't have to go to a barre studio where there's a bunch of emaciated ballerinas making you feel like you're the biggest loser because you're down 1 inch. You guys, I am down 1 inch. You, Courtney and Leah, can attest to this. I care about my knees very much. My knees were shot after being a professional dancer. I would tap dance 8 shows a week on raked stages with no cushioning, because when you do Broadway tours, when you're in Broadway, the stages are cushioned for tap dancing and impact. When you're on the road and you're playing concert halls, you are tap dancing on cement floors, point shoe work on cement floors, bang, 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 knees, knees, knees. My knees were shot. I had shin splints. I was 25 years old. This kind of work rehabilitated my knee injuries. I can go into like 1,000 things of the ways that I have actually saved my body from this kind of work. But it's ego busting, and it's a little bit, it's challenging because it doesn't look very glamorous. You'll see the podcast at times, it looks like we're not doing anything, but trust me, if you've tried it, you know. So those are two very, very intelligent questions that I almost never get asked. So I love these questions. I hope that kind of like basic little anatomy lesson helped a lot. But really, I want to coach you through this Superblock and through everything I do. I really try to help you understand your body. So at some point after this 3 weeks, what I hope you feel is, you know, you won't have to ask me, should I stay up higher? Am I in an anterior tilt? Because you will feel it. If you do 3 leg lifts and you feel your low back, 99.9% you're in an anterior tilt. If you do 3 plies and you feel your knees, 99% chance you're not pressing your heels together enough and your knees are protruding over your toes, putting a lot of pressure. So you will start to understand your body and know how to adjust on your own. When can you intensify? When do you need to pull back? When will a loop assist you? When will a loop add appropriate resistance? So these are all things you will learn in this, which is why I always say, and I said to Courtney and Leah and to all of you guys probably on this call, anyone who even attempts to do my programs, I feel like is a super high level of intelligence and sophistication, as evidenced just by these questions alone, because it really takes a curiosity about your body. If you just want to follow someone, you want to do 100 burpees, you want to do squats to overhead presses forever, you want to do 1,000 jumping jacks because that's what you've been told and you're already good at that, you won't enjoy this program. This program, the movements, like when I tried to enter them in Google Docs, like Courtney and Leah can probably say, like, I was like, oh God, I'm so mean. I forgot I did this because it's hard. But the director would be like, okay, whereas most people would be like, do 30 burpees. I have sweeping looped dragonfly lunge into blah, 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 blah. And he's like, what is this? Oh, well, it's a new movement pattern I created. So it doesn't exist. So what I hope is that you'll be open to these movement patterns. Know you're going to fall. Know you're going to take breaks. You will watch me take breaks. You will listen to me beg to modify moves. You will watch me decide to modify moves midway through the second workout. But you will become so aware of your own body. You will be able to know, oh, am I ovulating if I'm a woman? You will be able to be that in tune with your body to understand when your desire is to push to your edge and when your desire is to breathe, stabilize, and take it back a notch because it's actually what your body needs.
That's going to segue directly into our next question perfectly. Number one, I will say, if you guys watch, my leg is like an inch off the ground the entire time. There's like no extension here. I am like barely moving my legs. I'm barely moving my body, and I am still drenched in sweat and got an incredible workout and just felt so good. So the next question, and I'm just going to plug Elise really quickly with this. If you don't follow her on Instagram, and if you're not a subscriber of hers on Instagram, run, don't walk, subscribe, especially if this next question was one of your questions and something that you're interested in. And our team is very into and been taking a lot of classes. Taylor is one of the leaders on our team of cycle syncing. And so the buzz on the streets is you've been tapping more into hormone studies and cycle syncing. Go subscribe to Elise Joan Fitness. Are you sharing, or can you share on how someone could approach your program from a cycle syncing standpoint? Or will there be information, any additional content released with your program on this?
Yes, 100%. Yes, we do deep dives into this in my subscription on Instagram. We have a couple amazing hormone experts. I always am studying and learning, but I also am always inviting people who, there's this great podcast I listen to that Julia Louis-Dreyfus does. It's called Wiser Than Me. And she has guests on who are over 75 because I think a lot of us are women here. I have many goals to empower women, but one of my main goals is to empower women of age. As we age, I fully am stoked to turn 50, which happens very soon. And I feel like my 50s and then my 60s are going to be better and better. And this podcast, it's called Wiser Than Me. And she interviews these women that society is like, oh, they're old, forget about them. But we're like the only culture that does that, right? Every other society does that. So what I do in my subscriber group in a different way, is while I'm trained and I'm certified and I have 100 things and have been studying hormones since my personal fertility journey, which began about 12 years or 13 years ago, I always want people wiser than me because I'm still learning. I don't pretend to know it all. No one can cure their hormones in 8 weeks. I don't care what they tell you. It's a long process and you need to, but one of my other goals for women is to educate women on understanding their body. So if you want a super nerdy deep dive with amazing experts, as Courtney says, we're diving into that in my Instagram subscription. That being said, because of my interest in that, this program was built with the women in mind to support us, not just at any phase of our, what may or may not be a 28-day cycle. For very few women are like a textbook 28-day cycle. So it's not like you say, well, on day 12, all women are experiencing ovulation. And on day 23, all women are in their luteal phase. Like we're all unique and different. So what I am trying to do is train you as a woman to understand your body. So you will feel and not deny. And we've been taught as women, again, this could be like a 17-hour podcast, but I feel like we've been trained a lot, and the best thing is one of our hormone experts is certified. One of her 15 certifications is in a style called Women Are Not Small Men. And to be honest, a lot of us have been conditioned that we should train like men, that we should feel like men. Women have been taught to go against their intuition into this no pain, no gain. If you're not obsessed with your fitness and restricting your calories, you're not doing it right. No, if women can tap into our intuition, we are magical beings, okay? Believe it. You will know how to nourish your body. You will know how to move your body, but we've been taught to deny it and avoid it and listen to what this expert or that expert or this kind of training developed by a man 100 years ago is telling us to do. So my goal is to help women tap into their instincts, understand their body, and then listen to their body. So when it comes to cycle syncing, if you don't know what that means, it essentially means that we are not meant to train at 100% max heart rate all 28 days of our cycle. And when we are dealing with major hormone changes, whether that's prenatal, natal, neonatal, postnatal, or it's perimenopausal, menopausal, postmenopausal, I've worked with women who have no uterus because they've had hysterectomies, women who've, recovering from ovarian cancer, women with no thyroid who have their hormones completely synthetically regulated. It's all about understanding your individual body. And to cycle sync means there are times during our ovulation or during our menstruation or in any of the 4 phases of our cycle where we are meant to train differently. There are times when we will feel 100% and times when we won't. And that's going to be a different day of the month for all of us. But this program, I had that in mind because, as Courtney mentioned, first of all of my cardio intervals, which there are many in every class, are non-impact or low impact. I do allow the intensifier to jump once in a while, but in this new Superblock, even most of the intensified options are low impact. And believe me, I'm an athlete. I just got everything done. Like my fitness level is super high. I am gassed doing non-impact cardio drills from this program because unlike a jumping jack, for example, where you're flapping your arms, you're getting high impact and you can get your heart rate up. In one of my cardio intervals, we'll take like a rainbow lunge, for example. Neither foot leaves the floor. You get a full range of mobility. You're moving your body in all planes. You're working glutes, you're working quads. So not only are you finding a heart rate that works for you, but you are strengthening. You're going to be like, that was a cardio interval. My booty is on fire. Oh, that was a booty interval. My heart rate went way up. And the reason this is good for cycle syncing, whenever you're doing high impact work, it is a literal pressure on your body. And we do want a certain amount of stress on our body. That's what working out is. But the cortisol levels are going to be key here. And a lot of times when we think of cycle syncing, we think of our reproductive hormones, right? Our estrogen, progesterone, we're thinking of testosterone and how that phases it. But we have to consider cortisol. And there are 2 major ways that this program can help reduce chronic stress. Number 1 is it reduces stress on the body by implying and enforcing non-impact or low impact options. Number 2, the mindset work that is designed. Actually, number 3, the breath work, because we sync our breathing as well with different things. But back to this cycle syncing in particular, let's say it's a day you are crushing it. This is the, like, for example, if you're prenatal, this would be trimester 2. You can do everything. You have endorphins, you're crushing it. You're doing your Tabata drills. Great. You can do the full range of motion. You can peak your heart rate with low impact completely, and you go 100%. Same workout. Let's say this workout falls at a time when you're not feeling 100%. You're just happy you got out of bed. You're bloated. You're cramped. You want to feel your best. You're putting no pressure on your body with the impact. You take a smaller range of motion. You go slower at your own tempo. So you can self-adjust these non-impact and low impact moves to either reach your max heart rate, which I have done with these non-impact moves, or keep your heart rate a little bit lower because that's what goes for you today. And then interval training is also great for cycle syncing because it's a myth that it's better if we're at our max heart rate a whole workout. Interval training means you peak and lower your heart rate to create intervals. So your heart works hard to get the heart rate back up after we've lowered it in a strength interval. Whereas a lot of people will do cardio interval and then rest. I do cardio interval and then strength training. So that being said, there is a lot of room to create the experience that you want. And most of my training, and I'm 47, people ask me, can you build muscle? Like, I'm just going to tell you, okay, I'm 47 years old. I set down my 2-pound weights in this program. Everyone asks, oh, you must lift heavy in secret. No, I do not. Oh, you must run or do jumping jacks in secret. No, I do not. I train with the Superblock 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, to be honest, sometimes 4 days a week, because sometimes my body is saying you need to rest today. I slept for 4 days after wrapping the Superblock. I slept, woke up, ate carbs, slept, woke up, ate carbs, slept, woke up, ate carbs. It was genius. But in this style of training, which I feel like I use myself as a guinea pig, I stay a majority of the time, if we're working with the 3-zone principle, where zone 3 is breathless, zone 1 is warm up, cool down. I'm fluctuating within a zone 2. So after my warm up, I'm like a zone 2, heart rate is steady. By the end of a cardio interval, I go to like the high end of a zone 2 where I'm still able to carry on a conversation, but I don't overstrain or overstress my body. It is almost impossible to overtrain with this style. At the same point, if you're like trying out for the NBA, this workout will condition you for that. I mean, and I prefer to have like Courtney and Leah and people who are not me and trying to sell you on the beauty of this kind of training. I just feel like this kind of training would make every woman look. All men should do it too. You want to lift heavier, you want to jump higher, you need to be doing this work. But I've kind of given up trying to convert men. They will come to me when they want to rehab injuries. They will come to me when they're a little more awakened, as women, tend to be. But this program really does have women in mind, and the variability of working with your body rather than against your body. And then the body awareness and body literacy. Your body, like my body is different than Meredith's, is different than Marissa's. And what feels moderate to me is going to be different. And honestly, what feels moderate to me when I'm on day 2 of my menstruation versus what feels moderate to me when I'm like crushing it in my follicular phase is the difference in weight, in 6 pounds of weight and probably 20 reps in a cardio. And I listen to my body and I work accordingly. And that body literacy takes time, but a couple rounds of this and you will know your body and your mind and your heart on a different level. So I really feel like you're getting everything you need in less than 30 minutes.
Love all of that.
Okay. Sorry, I could talk forever. So I try to hit like the bullet points before people's eyes go glassy,
No, this is what like our crew specifically is all about that. And they love this so much. And once again, I'm going to plug it, subscribe. You guys, like if you want to learn more about it with Elise and really use that Barre blend Superblock with the cycle syncing and all things, make sure to subscribe to her Instagram channel. We're going to talk a little bit about your muscle mass, because those of us who've been here longer, we've been here for a while, we have seen you increase your muscle mass. And what have you changed anything in your nutrition? You just said you've been doing, the same training, but I will say the Barre blend Superblock is different than the original Barre blend. It is more athletic. So have you made changes to your training or nutrition?
Yes. I mean, look, as I age, the 4 years between, having, recently turned 40 when I was creating, building, and then shooting Barblend, which was about a year before it came out, to now being closer to 50. I'm 47. I'll be 48 in November. My body has changed. And part of my body literacy is understanding what I need as I age. So it's a great question. And, if you look at Barblend, the original, because again, we were filming 2-a-days and it was very, very tempo driven. Another big difference about this Superblock is there are tempo driven intervals if you want them, but we have a lot of intervals where we slow down, use a heavier weight, but heavy meaning moderate. I think once I picked up an 8 and within 2 minutes put it down and replaced it with a 5. So for me, moderate for these kind of strength mobility moves were a 5 pound. Courtney says cross trainer, heavy lifter, 5 pounds.
5 pounds. That's the heaviest I went.
Yeah. So, but if you look at my physique in Barblend, by the end of 8 weeks, I had like a zero, like I'd unhealthily low amount of body weight just because it was so cardio driven. And I mean, it wasn't unhealthy. I was still like elite athlete range, but it's leaner than I really prefer to be. We were filming 2-a-days and I was consuming almost 3,000 calories a day then of protein and healthy fats. But so in answer to your question about how I've changed, I have slowed down some of my training. So from the super high, relentless fast pace of Barblend, this is still relentless in that every moment is utilized. You are working every moment. There's no standing around and chit-chatting with Cass. There's no 30-second rests because we're working with body weight. Like when you're training with heavy weights, you have to take significant rests. If you're doing, and then the next day, if you're doing bis and tris one day, you're going to rest those and do legs the next day. With my style of training, which is why I think it's optimal for women, it builds streamlined but very strong and lean muscle, but you're working your full body every day. So a couple of things that I've changed over the years is one, slowing down the tempo, a little more slow control. This is also something with my mindset work that I've learned the value of. And I started exploring this when I was creating Flow. You may or may not notice, talk very fast. I'm very passionate about things. I'm like a doer, creator, achiever. I used to think resting was, why would I rest? I have to accomplish the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And then as I got older and got happier and kept doing the mindset work, I started to realize, there's quite a lot of power in slowing down and controlling. So in answer to the question about my nutrition, I have done a little bit more of a deep dive of my needs. I've definitely upped the amount of protein that I eat, and Shakeology is very helpful for that for me. Healthy fats. And I did this in Barblend as well. And it was just a struggle. I mean, you may have seen, I had 3 body positivity women that I hired for Barblend because I did not want to hire a bunch of emaciated dancers. I'm like, this is not aspirational for me. I can spot an eating disorder from a mile away because I grew up in ballet. And I had Jean, when we hired Jean, if any of you've done the original program, she was a size 12 plus, and Alexis was a plus size model at about a size 16 to 18, still beautiful. By the end, Jean was like my size. She lost so much weight in 2 weeks of rehearsal by the time that we started, because it is such, both of these super blocks are fat shredding super blocks. So if you have any weight to lose, even if you're just modifying, you're going to lose it. It's not the goal. It's not what I choose to talk about, but I'm never going to create a program for body that doesn't help you reach your physical and aesthetic goals to feel your best. That being said, even then I was doing this, but I eat a lot more healthy fats now, avocados, nuts, nut butters, seeds. Because again, I think one of the things that women forget, especially if you ever lived through the 90s, which was all about SnackWells, aspartame, cutting calories and fat, like all the lies we were told. And if you weren't a size minus, heroin chic was the aesthetic. So which already implies unhealthy, looks like you haven't slept and shot up heroin all night. That's what women were supposed to look like. I walked around and I was small. I was dancing ballet and I would walk around with a sweatshirt tied around my waist to hide my butt because I was always a little more athletic and I thought I was fat. And this is like horrible body dysmorphia to have to overcome. But the Special K diet, Courtney, okay, you know what's up. I used to like eat Special K all the time and think, I'm going to be so skinny, as 20, what did I know? I believed everything that the media told me. And a lot of people do now. They think, if you're over 40 and you're not lifting 100-pound weights, you can't build muscle mass. That is not true. You need resistance training, and heavy weights is a great form of resistance training. And if you love lifting heavy, you should lift heavy. If you're lifting heavy because the media told you that you're going to die of, consumption if you don't, that's a fallacy, right? So it's the same with nutrition, and our bodies are designed to keep us alive. So this is, again, and it goes back to overtraining and high impact and stress on our joints if we're working out too hard. Your body says, oh, I'm running from tigers, I'm running from bears, because I'm jumping, I'm running, I'm doing, all of these high impact things. So what does your body say? First of all, cortisol raises. I'm in high stress. I'm in fight or flight mode. I'm in my sympathetic nervous system, which is fight or flight. We want to have a balance with our parasympathetic nervous system. But the other part of that is it says, I need to retain energy because I don't know where my next food source is, because I'm not getting fat and I'm running from tigers. So what am I going to do? Retain fat around the belly, retain fat around the childbearing area to protect me so I can survive the winter famine. So one of the major things I changed was really upping my levels of healthy fats and being less afraid of complex carbohydrates. Because again, I grew up at an era where carbs made you fat. And it's just nothing could be further from the truth. Like carbs that are Oreos, sure. Carbs that are quinoa balanced with vegetables, healthy fat, and a lot of protein. No, your body is then registering satiation, which comes from protein and fat. You feel full on a much smaller amount. And then also your body's like, oh, I'm getting all of my macronutrients. I'm good. I don't have to store fat because I have a regular incoming source of healthy food. So that's, kind of how I eat now. Fully admit, I also like have my 15% or 20% of the time where I drink champagne and I eat Oreos. I had an Oreo last week. It was blissful. Was it an investment in my wellness? No, it was not, but it was a joy that I'm allowed to do because I also do my first thing in Shakeology. And in my subscription, as Mandy says, I'll share what I eat. And you better believe I'm like, I'm having a glass of champagne. I'm having a scoop of ice cream. Like, I don't pretend I live on kale juice and Shakeology because I don't. So that's the nutrition changes I've made. And then the training changes are, I take 2 rest days minimum a week. And I want to encourage us as women too, we have to submit these calendars, right? If it were me, I would submit these 15 workouts in this order and say, you take your 2 rest days or 4 rest days or 1 rest day or 3 rest days when you want to. So typically for me, I don't do Monday through Friday and take the weekends off. I see how I feel. Like, for example, this week, I'm taking tomorrow off, like a random Wednesday, because I've been working out a lot, doing the Superblock. I miss it so much. I'm doing it at home to like what I can remember from my Google Docs, And this morning, I'm like, you know what? My body's a little tired. I did one of my flow days. I did a recovery flow, and then tomorrow I will take off, and then I'll do it again. And I might work out Saturday, but I didn't used to mandate rest days for myself. I would take them maybe, but I really felt a desire to push through. And I felt like I felt like after Barblend or during Barblend that I had to continue to look a certain way of ideal aesthetic, or no one would believe Barre was effective. And when I took that pressure off of myself and just stopped caring about how I looked, because, the camera adds 10 pounds and all of these things. When I got out of the mindset of being worried about that and thought, you know what, women who are intelligent, people who are intelligent, they're going to find me and enjoy the work. They're not going to care if I fit into size 1 or size 2. It's just not about that. But when you're on camera, you do have some of these things. And that was my first program, so I felt really, and I got such great results from Barblend that I'm like, oh, I have to keep this up, and now I'm just a little more compassionate to my body. And the result is I feel like I look better than ever. I feel for sure better than ever. I feel the youngest. My body is 1,000% healthier now than when I was 20 and a professional dancer. So I think those are some of the main shifts that I've made over the past 4 years that I've built into this conditioning program.
2 quick questions. Well, number 1, can you share in the Superblock, you shared that you went and you got like all of your work done, and what is your body age?
I should have brought with you guys. I have like 20 pages of results so here's one thing that's very sad is, unfortunately, women's health, like Viagra will always be covered by insurance. Who knows why? Because men create the insurance. Nothing against men. I love men. But it is sad that it is a cost prohibitive experience to get all these tests done. Like some of the basic blood work is covered, but other than that, I had to pay for the hormone test. I had to pay for the vitamin test. I had to pay for, I mean, the cortisol was included in the hormone test, but you know, it's cost prohibitive. And so that's why I created the subscription. I just want to share all the information I can that cost me several $100s so that we could all do it. But yes, I got everything tested because I'm like, look, I want to optimize my health. My priority is no longer looking a certain way. It's making sure that I'm where I'm meant to be. And yes, so I went to an amazing hormone specialist here in the Pacific Palisades, was recommended to me by 4 elite athletes across different men and women, but mostly women. And I was kind of nervous, to be honest. I'm like, oh, I don't like failing tests. What if my hormones are all off, you know? And when she came to meet me, she said, you know, because she took a week to review all of the data, and then we had a 2-hour consult. And she said, when I saw your results, I had to do like a triple take and look over it again and again. She's like, I've never seen someone at your age, which is I am at the cusp of perimenopause, right? I'm 47, almost 48, happens at different times. I'm kind of like cuspy right there. She said, your level of fitness, your metabolic age is 31 to 33. And that means that my low levels of visceral fat, low levels of subcutaneous fat, super high muscle index. My muscle index is in the excellent for a 31 to 33-year-old. Forget about a 47-year-old where it is harder to build muscle and we are concerned about bone density. My bone density is on point. But then the most important thing she said that confused her was this level of fitness in a woman your age and a cortisol level that is optimal, meaning it's low. It's not none, it's what it should be, but it's optimal cortisol. She's like, women of this level of fitness of any age are usually so spiked in cortisol that then again, because cortisol does dictate the regulation of other hormones, that their other hormones are off. So she asked me, she's like, literally, what do you do? Because how do you achieve this level of fitness with this level of cortisol balance and hormonal balance? And I'm like, funny you should ask. I just have been creating this Barre Blend Superblock, and that's what I've been doing for the past 4 months. So, you know, from a standpoint of health and wellness, I tried to, one of our experts in my subscriber group actually said, when you're looking for someone to follow, you should see who focuses on and trains the person that is most like you. I am looking at women of all ages, women of all, you know, I mean, Amy's expecting, like, there is something for all of you to find your peak levels. And I just think there's no denying that, debunking the myth that you can build muscle over 40 and you can do it in this style of training.
I love it. Meg had a good question. She said, do you mean rest and not do anything on your rest days? Or do you mean rest with like walk and yoga? Because actual rest days are hard for me. I at least have to do yoga or take a walk. Oh, you're muted. Hold on, or I can't hear you.
Hi, I said, okay, this is actually perfect timing for this question. I just had to let my babies out. These are, okay, my husband got me these we don't have children, but we have framed photos of our rescue dogs. That's Larkin and Boomer. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see a lot of them. I took them on like 18 walks today, and then I bribed them with a peanut butter bone to be quiet during this call. And I just like, Boomer likes to chill in his little house there. He has a kennel, but anyway, they're out now, but that's a great question. My rest days are, I don't put pressure on myself. Hi, Boomer. You want to say hi to our friends? But I always walk the dog. So for me, a rest day, there's some hills in my neighborhood. Boomer does need, you know, we usually take him on hikes or send him out for athletic dog hikes, but I'll walk him. A rest day for me would probably be, and I mean a meandering walk where I have coffee in one hand, the dog in the other hand. Maybe a mile of that. I might do some stretches. I love my 10-minute enhancements. So I'll do often like the chair stretching ones. I like my 15-minute flow enhancements. And then some days, literally, I don't get out of my pajamas. So honestly, it really depends. Full rest days are very hard for me as well. But when I wake up the next day and I can peak my performance even more, I realize the value of them. And so in answer to your question, yes, for me, again, this was one of the major changes that Courtney asked that I made in the last 4 years, which is prioritizing rest days. There they go. It doesn't have to be nothing. It can be whatever feels good for you. But I think waking up and not having a plan that you have to do at a certain time, just let your day unfold. And that's what's great about Body. You know, I have 10-minute workouts, 15-minute workouts. There's a Fivers out there. Doesn't have to be with me, you know, but there's something you can do if really doing nothing is not for you. But I'd recommend stretching and something that keeps your heart rate in a 1 to 2 zone.
Awesome. Okay. We are going to go into a speed round. So I'm going to give you like a this or that, or just like a 1-word answer question.
Okay.
I feel like you've already given us so much gold. Like, I mean, you guys drop in the chat box if you're so fired up to do this, because this program is going to be amazing. And hopefully everyone is so excited.
So worth it. And if you can share it with any women that you think would benefit from, you know, this kind of training and philosophy. And then we haven't even gotten into the mindset, which is also, I think, I learned a lot about myself in building the questions and leading the podcast. And I learned a lot from my podcast. So it's really a very co-created experience.
Okay. And you can say pass as well if you want to pass a question. All right. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Lemon or strawberry lemonade Energize?
So strawberry lemonade.
Target or Walmart?
Ooh, Target.
Breakfast or dinner?
Dinner.
Favorite dessert or treat?
Ooh, brownies. Anything with brownies.
Favorite kind of movie?
Ooh, murder mysteries.
Oh, okay.
I know it's dark. I'm dark too.
We're not watching movies together. One thing you always travel with?
What do I always travel with? That's a great question. Usually like a pair of leggings, because I can wear them anywhere, dress them up or dress them down. I traveled all through Europe last year with 1 carry-on, so there's not a lot in there.
Favorite brand of sneakers?
Oh, you know, I almost never wear shoes to train. I train barefoot, but I do have the shoes that I have to walk in are Nikes.
Nikes. Favorite brand of athletic wear?
Oh, I'm a Lululemon diehard for functionality. I like the Wonder Trains.
Okay. Leg day or upper body?
Legs, always legs.
Portion fix or to be mindset?
To be mindset.
To be mindset.
I love the volume eating that Ilana does. I'm a volume eater, so.
Same.
Yeah.
Favorite body program besides your own?
Ooh. That's a really good one. What is my favorite body program besides my own? Gosh, there's so many good ones. I did a hybrid with Lift 4 and I really enjoyed Lift 4 as a different way. It's very collaborative or very complementary. I don't know. I hate to even say, because all our trainers are great in their own ways, you know?
Yep, absolutely. Well, we are so excited. Leah, do you want to say anything about Fire and Flow? I said besides her own. That's
I know. I didn't count that. Fire and Flow is another awesome one. Like, I honestly do. It's not like I just like training this way, and I know my 30 minutes is going to be maximized. So I usually do my own style of training because it has worked for me so well. And I've tried it all in my Equinox days. And, you know, when you find something, like, it's good to diversify. That's why I love Body too, because I'll take one-off body classes if I'm craving something different.
Yes. Leah, do you want to unmute yourself and just kind of say anything about being in the podcast and your experience? Because Leah has a different background than I do. She owned a yoga studio, Pilates, all of that.
Yes, I stalked all of her stories during our filming.
Yeah, she's the best. She's the best.
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually put it in the chat that, you know, this program was like coming home for me. Yes, I taught yoga. I still teach yoga, but I owned a yoga studio and Pilates studio for about 14 years. I've been in the industry for 20 plus, and I've done all the different programs that Body has to offer. And I did do Bar Blend Original. And I just, this Superblock is, again, it's like coming home. It's just perfect. I'm also 47. I'm in between abdominal surgeries. I'm perimenopausal. I'm going through hormone replacement therapy. So it was just very, spoke to my heart, and I felt so good. Like Elise was saying, like, it is amazing. Even when we were doing 2-a-days, like the fact that you literally get your butt kicked. I mean, your butt is going to get pumped up, but you feel great. Like, I still had plenty of energy to live life, go do the things I still love to do. I'm a mountain biker. I love to hike. I walk my dogs. I garden. Like, it doesn't deplete you to the point that you can't do anything else in your day. So, yeah, I love it. It was fantastic being part of the podcast. It was so exciting. It was one of my favorites was, before we would start filming, and just getting to know Elise on a different level, and, kind of laugh along with her when she was looking at her schedule and going, why on earth did I put that in there? Like,
I know.
I can't believe I did this.
Felt like such a good idea in my living room. And then
Yeah.
suddenly you're like, oh man, I'm really mean, but here we are. You'll replay it forever and ever and never plateau.
Yeah. So I loved it. I'm very, very grateful for the experience. So I feel like this is the program that I will be enrolling people to start with forever and ever. So thank you.
Thank you. You guys, I'm sorry for the epic battle. Like when they know there's people, they try to show their dominance. I'll let you know who wins on a follow-up email, but I just want to take an opportunity before we sign off to thank you guys, because it really is you, our coaches, that champion my programs. It's sometimes a tougher sell, I know, for a mindset program that might be considered niche, but I really don't find the Superblock to be niche. I find it, as Leah said, I guess you can't get more different backgrounds than Courtney and Leah, and for both of them to have amazing experiences. I want this to be a tool for your acquisitions. I think it's something women can start today, right? They don't need a full set of weights. They don't need a bike. They don't need equipment, just their body and a willingness to try. I mean, if they grab a green juice bottle or whatever, or nothing at all, it's really something that as Leah said, I hope will help you with acquisitions and inviting women in to help them feel welcome at all ages, all phases, all experience levels. And I wouldn't be here without you guys always advocating for me and commenting on Instagram and keeping my presence important at Body. So I really, it is because of you that I'm here, and it's not lost on me. And if you tag me in a story, I know you and I watch your journey, and I'm so proud of you and so impressed with how you balance your lives and your careers and still are so able to support, the work that I do. And I hope I can continue to support you in any way I can. So thank you for having me today.
Thank you so much for taking your time to be on. This was absolutely amazing, and we all love you. We
Love
can't wait to do the Superblock with you and see you at Summit in 2 weeks.
Oh yes, come find me at Summit. If you see me, run up and give me a hug. I love hugs.
Yes, we are so excited, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. It really was my pleasure. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye, everybody.